Hey everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today we got a lot of people on the screen. We've got a saxophone quartet called Group 2. How you all doing today?
Hey, we're doing pretty good.
Great.
Molto bene, molto bene.
All right.
Thanks for having us on.
So, you're welcome. It's I'm honored to have you on. I hadn't really known much about you, but I heard. I think you guys played a Artist Umbrella show or something earlier this summer. So I did hear about you before, and then I think Jeremy Hurt was telling me that he thought you guys were really cool, and this will be a good show. So, and probably the Opportunity Arts or someone got you to sign up is what I'm be thinking. So, anyways, welcome to the show. And when you registered for the show, whoever registered, I think it was Eric. Are you in Arizona or something? You out west?
I am in Arizona. Yeah, actually, I'm the only quartet member in Arizona currently because that's where my family lives, and I've been here since the winter break started.
All right. So why don't you? And where's everyone else?
Go for it, Evan.
Okay, so I'm still in East Lansing. We're all Michigan State students, soon to be graduating, some of us. But yeah, I'm originally from Lansing area, so my family's all here, and I'm just here.
All right. What about you, Adam?
I'm in Lansing.
All right. Mm-hmm. And you in Lansing too, Tyler?
No, I'm actually in North Carolina. The homeland. Right. Yeah. We went back at the very maybe like mid-November. I came slipping in, so we're going to be back in town next week though, because it's always a party up in Michigan. So
and usually Tyler lives here with me. He's one of my roommates. So we I don't know. We have a little bit too much fun up here with just partying and everything.
So why don't you all take a minute to tell us a little bit more about yourselves. I'm going to probably dissect this up a little bit because I've never had 4 people on the screen before, and I'm loving this. So this is a learning experience for me. I just had someone sign up. They're going to have 7 people on the screen in January 2nd. So this is a good stepping stone for me.
Score order?
Yes.
All right. Whatever that means, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I'll start. My name's Evan Harris. I'm the soprano saxophonist for Group 2. I live in Lansing. I'm a third-year doctoral student at Michigan State University. Did my previous degrees. Did one of them in Oklahoma. Did one of them up at Central Michigan. I don't know. I trying to finish up my degree. I teach in the area. Teach a couple students out of Grand Ledge. That's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Were you born and raised in Lansing?
Yeah, born and raised in Lansing.
Where'd you go to high school?
So that's an interesting one. I was actually homeschooled K through 12.
Okay, all right.
So my first taste of public school was when I went up to college.
All right.
He was the coolest kid in his homeschool.
Yeah.
Had the most friends.
Yep.
So
it was fun.
All right, thank you, Evan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who to call on next because I don't know anything about music except for I like it.
Yeah, so my name is Eric Zheng. I'm the alto saxophone player in the quartet. I think it's the one that most people know what it looks like, and it's this one right here. It's the classic sax shape, actually, and then. Evan, I've got it here. This is the soprano one, so the long. Hey, there it is.
Yeah. If I would lose a bet if someone said, "I bet you this is a saxophone," I'd be like, "That ain't no saxophone."
It's a golden clarinet as well. So no, but So I was actually born and raised in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. Moved to greater Chicagoland area for college. People would fight me on because I'm not. It's school's not actually in college, but they're in Chicago. But now I'm doing my master's at Michigan State, and I was put in this quartet at the beginning of the 2019 fall, and we've just been having a lot of fun doing it since. And so, yeah, I've really appreciated working with these guys.
All right, and nobody will know this, but what high school did you go to? Because that's one of the things I'm collecting data on.
I went to University High School. It's one of the it's a public school in the. I know it's called. It's also shares
It's a public school.
with,
It's a public school.
It is a public school. It shares a campus with Rincon High School, so it's a little bit kind of a weird situation. But our mascot was the Penguins, so
Nice.
you
In
know,
Arizona.
that gives you, if that doesn't tell you enough about the school, then you know
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm painting
The Arizona Penguins.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric, and I'm glad you're on the show. And thank you for getting up a little early. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, and I'm Adam Epler. I am the tenor saxophonist of Group 2, and at the risk of offending Eric, I would argue that the tenor saxophone is the most recognizable saxophone. I don't have one with me, but there we go. Evan has one there. You can see the neck is curved at the top, and Clarence Clemens would play in the E Street Band, for those of you familiar. So I was raised in Dallas, Texas, born and raised. I started playing piano at age 5, and then I discovered the saxophone. My dad would play E Street Band, Clarence Clemens, Bruce Springsteen records, and I thought, okay, I want to swing and stop playing this classical stuff. So I picked up the saxophone and went to Michigan State. It's a great state for saxophone. A lot of things happening up here in the saxophone world. A great professor that we study with here to see what they know, and it was a great experience because I met all of these guys. So it was, I kind of have 2 different lives, my Dallas life and my Michigan life.
All right.
That's good. All right. Last and probably least, let's be real. Come on.
I knew that was
all you guys. You guys knew some BS was coming.
Yeah.
My name is Tyler Young. I play the baritone saxophone, which I'm not going to pick it up. You guys are squares. Right there. I'll just show it to you. This big one. It looks kind of tiny, but once I bring it up to, if I bring it up to the screen, it would take up all the space.
Yeah, it's got a couple extra bends in it.
Couple, just a few. I'm the lowest voice. Okay, and when I say score order, I mean from littlest to biggest. That's what it's basically in terms of pitch, right? I'm the lowest pitch, so I'm like all beneath the tones of everybody else, and I'm like the foundation of the band. Of the band that we're in. And so I am from North Carolina. I went to 2 different high schools, Union Pines High School and Pinecrest High School. So if that's helpful.
It's
and
not.
Then,
I'm just curious.
Just to be cool, fit in with everybody else. Except, yeah. And so I went to 2 different colleges for my undergraduate degree as well. I went to a school in North Carolina called the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, and then I went to a school in Florida called the drumroll, Florida State University. Go Noles! And so we are very proud of our school. If you can't tell, so I did double duty at both schools, and then I came up to Michigan State to do my master's degree, which is what Adam said, very a destination school for saxophone. And then here I am doing my doctorate, finishing it up at Michigan State as well, because I just couldn't. I need to get in for second helpings. You know how you go back? We just had turkey and everything. Just didn't fill me up the first time, so here we are being really filled up the second time. And so yeah, we're here. We're doing Group 2, and Group 2 was is a labor of love, I think. Out of all of us, we were assigned to be in it, and then we were like, hey, we like each other, so we were like, let's do it more, and then we did it more, and that's what we're up to now. So thanks so much for having us on the show, Jerry. Really appreciate it.
So did a professor literally had a piece of paper that said Group 1, Group 2, and your 4 names?
No, he hated the name. He did not like this name. So we were put at first, right? We were put in this ensemble. He said, here are 4 people, be together, make a name, do things. So we said, okay. And there was maybe a little bit. Evan and I have played together before. And so we were kind of like, like we had seen how other people played, and we had liked the musicality that, Adam was showing on stage with his solo playing. And he goes, and Evan and I go, yep. And then Eric Zheng came in, and Eric's sound, Jerry, Eric's sound is the best saxophone sound you'll ever hear in your entire life. Okay. So we were like, yeah, that one. And so we just needed to put them all together. We squashed them together, And so I was watching a John Mulaney special because I love John Mulaney, and I was writing down names for the ensemble. And I was like, he talked about being in a math class and having it be a bad. There were like 2 math classes. One was good, one was bad. And the first one was group 1, and they had a name for it, and they were all gung ho about math. And then he was like, I was in group 2. And that's the group that wasn't very good, didn't really care about math too much. We're just in it because they had to be in it for the grade. And I was like, so I hit up the guys, and they seemed to like it. And then Professor said, but then he came around.
Yeah. So we were prepping a little bit before the show just to make sure we have all this organized. And I brought up the word entrepreneurialism. Or entrepreneurs. Do you consider yourselves entrepreneurs? Because most people that are on my show, they're starting some project. They hope to, make some endeavor out of it where they can sustain a livelihood. Do you consider yourselves entrepreneurs, or what's your thought on that word?
I think as a musician, you have to be in some sense, especially in the saxophone world. The only jobs there are that are salaried are a university position, which they're few and far between now, or a military band playing in the Capitol. So that's probably give or take probably 100 jobs in the United States, and a lot more saxophonists. So if you'd like to make a solo career out of it, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be able to concertize, be able to get people to come to your shows, and show people the value of instrumental music, which is a little bit more difficult these days when we don't see it as much in pop culture and in media.
Okay. So you guys have a pitch competition at the MSU Music School. Have any of you ever participated in that? And I can't remember what it's called.
Running Start.
Yeah, Running Start.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're actually going to participate, or planning to, for this coming year. We have a project that we've basically we've brainstormed and planned out. Of essentially, it's a community-based project where we can involve, keep everything in-house, some MSU like composers and MSU artists, and then share it with not just the East Lansing, but larger Lansing community, using the connections we have, and to really disseminate that. Mike from Opportunity Arts has been really helpful in getting us into that.
Yeah, whenever I meet some band that are all MSU students, I always forget that there's a music school. And it's really stupid because I've judged that competition 2 years, not the last year, but the 2 years previous. And I don't know why I always forget that there is a spectacular music school at MSU, right? It's a really good school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think that kind of it maybe a lot of the times music schools, I think they end up being separated from like the general bands and music groups that end up coming out, because like they're so focused on like auditions and classical stuff, and less about getting into the community, and that's something that we do want to change.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit more, or do you guys want to watch your video and then talk a little bit more about Group 2, or you want to?
Sure, let's do
the
that.
video first. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this on screen here and get this playing, and we'll let this play out for 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Solid.
So let's go. Ah. Sorry, this is a browser problem like you were having.
It's all right.
All right, you're good.
Alexa, stop. All right. Good job. So did you guys get an A on that project?
You got a B plus.
A B plus?
Notes.
So was that for a school project or something else? Just put it together?
Yeah, that was our little that was a snippet, let's say 1/32 of our holiday card to the community. That was a little town of Bethlehem. Yeah, and what we did is we had two arrangers. One of them was Evan. Good job, Evan. And the other one was a person by the name of Lenny Niehaus, who actually just passed away just this past year, right? Adam it 2020? And we love playing his arrangements. They're just super sweet, right to the point. Like Adam said it really well. He was like just hard enough to need like one rehearsal, but then just like easy enough to like just really be swinging with one rehearsal.
It's like Mozart of jazz.
Exactly. And so we just what we did is we took these arrangements, put them together in a kind of a program. Evan made the program, and then we recorded it, did all the videography. Adam is the music minister at a church about 30 minutes away from Lansing, and we did all of everything in-house. So we did all the mixing, all the videoing, all the editing. Eric did an arrangement, right? Yes. Adam didn't. Yeah, Adam did something. We each had our fingers in the cookie jar here. And what we did is just put it together. It's a 50-minute video, 50-minute special. We like to call it the Group 2 special. And it's the second iteration, it's volume 2. We did a live concert last year. But this one is free for the community. It's on our website. We got a shout out from Fox News in Detroit. I think
so.
Maybe a Fox News somewhere. They have many numbers around their names, so it was a Fox News with a 4 and a something after it. And then we, it's basically just it's our holiday. Here you go to you, as the community from us, Group 2. So.
Well, I liked a lot about that. I mean, it sounded great. It looked great. The production was really good. And sorry, I screwed it up a little bit in the beginning. You guys are really challenging me today with all these people and these screens. I'm overwhelmed.
Putting you through your paces, huh?
So is Group 2 going to survive graduation? Is this a big question? Sorry.
Actually,
no,
it's a good question.
Great question.
And there are two answers to this question, and it is kind of like the Schrodinger's cat of music groups, right? I think that's fair to say. Two of our members are disseminating their little tendrils to the United States. One of them is going back to Dallas. Can we guess who's going to Dallas? Evan, guess who's going to Dallas? Adam Epler is going to Dallas, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Adam is looking to go get re-educated. What up? And to kind of like settle in some roots in Dallas.
A couple of things.
Eric is hopefully, fingers crossed, Jerry, moving to Chicago. Eric is cool because he has multiple degrees. One of them is in saxophone performance, about to have another one in saxophone performance, and one of them is in economics.
Okay.
So Eric is smart as hell. And Eric is looking to go back to Chicago to utilize some of that smartness in his economic field.
We'll see.
We'll see. Fingers crossed for Air Bear. And so this is the crossroads, right? Yes, Group 2 is going to be get together again. Yes, we're going to be together in a different capacity than what we were together this past, couple of years. So we get to kind of like lay down some roots in Dallas, possibly have some stuff going on in Chicago, always in Lansing. These guys can come up in Lansing and we can get a few things together easier than the average bear, I think. And so to answer your question, yes and no. Hence the Schrodinger little analogy. Okay. You like that? Smart.
Yeah, I do like it. So
smart looking, not really.
Eric, do you like being called Air Bear? Because I don't like being called Jer Bear.
It's actually not the first time. Like, that's been a nickname before. I mean, I'm cool with it. I dig it.
I grew up with that nickname, Jer Bear, and when my wife calls me it, I'm good with it. Anyone else, I just want to not be good with it.
We call Evan Beverly. So that's Evan.
I'm not entirely sure where that one came from, but I don't know. In our group chat, I'm known as Beverly in there. I don't know.
There've been gigs where I would refer to him accidentally as Beverly just because like that's what I always call him, and then I would be like, oh wait, they don't know. And then they're like,
gotta go and explain all of it, and they're like, that's a little weird. Why? And we're like, no idea.
Life is weird, man. That's
so. You sort of started answering one of the questions that's been bouncing around in my head since you were talking in the beginning about the entrepreneurship. If Eric's going to go off and do some economic stuff and work in that field and play the sax, if it's hard to get a job, what's like your mission here? What's your end game for saxophone? Is anybody going to try to make a living at just playing the saxophone, or is it going to be waiting tables and playing every place you can in New Orleans or something?
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead.
Evan, please.
Okay. I mean, I was going to say, like, for me, my plan is mostly to do saxophone. It'll probably look more like teaching. Teaching, playing when I can, playing with these guys. There's another quartet that I was a part of that we might be able to do things once coronavirus is a little bit more settled, and we can start going and doing more stuff together. But I mean, yeah. So yes, I am.
Yeah, and I think the question here is, well, while formally there might not be a lot of positions for formally saxophone, I think that, well, in some cases the world is our oyster. It's like there's that's like making the analogy that telling Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin, well, there's no jobs for rock bands out here, so what are you guys gonna do? You have to kind of make it for yourself, and I think that's what we intend on doing. And there's a handful of saxophone quartets in the world and in the United States doing things, and they're but there's not one particularly a stone's throw away from each other in every city. So that's what makes it unique. And the saxophone world is already so small that our mission is kind of to break out of this academic world and enter the real world, where most people, they know what the saxophone is, but I'd argue that most of the lay population doesn't know that four of them can get together and make music in this acoustic way that we're doing. So I think our struggle will be, how do we pass that barrier? How do we get from, we know what we're doing, we know that we sound good, we know what we're doing is fulfilling, and how do we make that known to people who are maybe not classically trained or instrumentally trained? Because there's a lot of appreciation for instrumental music still. I mean, most people were either in band, orchestra, or choir. So that in high school, growing up in middle school, whether you hear it or not, we hear it on television. You know, Family Guy, one of my favorite shows, the only television show to employ a 60-piece orchestra every time they do a show. Everything you hear in there are real musicians playing, written every week for the show. And then orchestral scores in movies. I mean, we hear this all the time. So it's just trying to formulate this or transition the awareness of instrumental music to something that we can maybe make a little bit of money on too. So, and I think that just navigating that big C is exciting for us. So I think there's a great future.
That's a really good point that I guess I sometimes miss, and I bet a bunch of other people do too, that, you know, art is all around us. It is from our iPhones and the design of our iPhones to the aesthetic of a building. Art is everywhere. And so is the art of music, and the art of sound is all around us as too. And I think sometimes I forget, other people forget, somebody's making that and somebody's doing that, and someone hopefully is getting paid for that. But the music industry has been tough on people, you know, the last 10, 20 years.
Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been saying, you know, you hear it all the time. And what we're talking about, you know, and what the other guys have been talking about really well in their descriptions is that it's all about a diversification of revenue streams. Making it right. Let's just quantify success right now, or qualify success as monetary success. So if you want to be able to pay your bills, what you have to do as the 21st century and onward musician is diversifying your revenue streams. This is something that even musicians do not understand. And we've had long talks about this, which is why everything that you saw, everything that you heard, everything that, you know, that you heard behind the scenes, like the arranging that Adam did, like the arranging that Eric did, it was all done in-house. We're diversifying our revenue stream, our revenue streams as well as we can right now, and this leads to more avenues of course, revenue, which then yields more monetary success in the field of music. And so, if you want to teach, you know, there might not be one job that pays you $80,000 a year out of the gate, but there are several jobs that pick up 4, 5, 6 students in the area that you get paid, you know, $300, $400 a week. And then that compounds with your playing. And it's these little bits and pieces that go together that make one kind of holistic life. Not so much of a mountain and then a few trees. It's more of all these little molehills that just you put together. And it's like, oh, this is where I make my musician come true. This is where I make my life come true. So, you know, that's one thing that I would love musicians to know going forward, is that it's all about that diversification. It's all about finding different ways to make transfers in things that you love to do to connect them to each other. It's ridiculously important. So I like that about Group 2. I think that we do that well.
And I think that's super important for any entrepreneur to diversify their revenue streams. It keeps you resilient. It replaces the revenue when parts of what you're doing go bad. You still got the other to save you. So great advice there. Is there a bigger mission than just playing or performing with what you guys have behind you? Like what you're saying, like, I know, like, the artists in the area never get paid the value that they're bringing to the table. They're always undervalued and never charge enough for their work. And there's a big movement to get local artists paid properly for the work that they do. No more, hey, does anyone want to paint this wall for me? It'll be free and it'll be tons of exposure, but you know, all that BS. Is there a bigger mission that you all have?
Yeah. Go for it, Eric.
Oh, I was just so. I think that a lot of it has been articulated in the way that Adam was mentioning in terms of being able to reach more people with instrumental music. Now, I think the other part of it goes back to what our three core values are, which are devotion, representation, and authenticity. And a big part about that is like the representation. And so with what we do in our music, we really want to. So to be more specific with the problem, right? It's that classical music is pretty inaccessible to a lot of people. And the reason that it's inaccessible is because most people don't really feel that they are represented in the music. So we want to change that narrative by, commissioning composers, uplifting, artists who have been marginalized, and just playing music that is not just maybe per se, heard in the academic community, but being able to share it, share and play music that is of many different backgrounds and styles, and being able to not just to play the styles authentically, not just kind of half-heartedly go through it. And so we like to pay attention in that aspect to the authenticity of the style, but also being true to our own voices and our artistic ideas in that way. And that's why we try to stay authentic. And then the last part, devoting ourselves to it, making sure that our efforts in the craft are really we're not putting out a product out that we wouldn't listen to ourselves.
Mhm.
So not a hack like me with every damn day where I just say, I'm going to do this. And
No, this is great.
That was a spectacular answer. I mean, that's beautiful. It got me thinking, I think about whenever I hear saxophone, I think about jazz. And now I'm sitting here thinking, how long has the saxophone been around? Was that invented for jazz, or was jazz just, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it was the first patent for saxophone was 1846 in Belgium it was invented by instrument maker inventor Adolphe Sax. And it was actually more so envisioned as a hybrid instrument to cross between brass instruments and woodwind instruments. And from my understanding, Adolphe Sax's concept was more for military band, to give it kind of like a string section, but that was able to project more and cut through, blend with the rest of the band as well. So it wasn't necessarily invented for jazz, but jazz picked it up, and it just kind of took off in that medium.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Evan. So is there something that you do every damn day that pushes your mission forward, or those values that Eric articulated forward? And you can answer this as a group or one-on-one, because what's something you do every damn day?
I think, I guess I can start. I guess my big one is, for me, it's practicing every day, not being or not accepting the flaws in my playing and stuff. Nope, I got to fix that. So my big one has been double tonguing, and Tyler will probably roll his eyes at this because I've been doing it since really devoting myself to it since quarantine happened in March. Just been okay, every day I got to sit down and do my double tonguing exercises so that, it'll make me better. And then I can, represent things more authentically, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
That's a good one.
And then I think Eric's next, if I remember the order right.
Yeah, right. No, it's great. Picking it up. I resonate with what Evan said, and just, not accepting the flaws in your playing and pursuing that. But I think just to add on to it, I think that every damn day I try to listen to not just sort of passively throw something on, but listen to different music and keep expanding what it is that keeps music going, and like what different artists are doing. Like I just really enjoy hearing what's out there and exploring that. So just doing more listening.
Okay. And then it's Adam, right?
Yeah, so I think similar as far as listening and everything. I don't know. I've kind of figured out over my years that I don't know. I'm an old soul in a little bit of ways. That I don't really listen to a lot of newer music. I don't really listen to watch. I mean, the same TV shows I watch are old shows like All in the Family, Seinfeld, everything, or like Family Guy and South Park. I kind of watch the same stuff. But in music, it's kind of the same way. My love is in the like the 40s and 50s, like the crooners, like Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all the all that swing era. So representing myself as well through Group 2, in bringing that back from the dead a little bit into our playing, which is very important to me. So it's fulfilling at the expense of sounding selfish, but fulfilling myself too through this. So.
Okay. And Tyler?
Yeah, it's such a good question, and I love everybody's answer. And to finish it up, it's actually kind of the same. When I'll back up when coronavirus, when all the shutdowns started, I think that we were all feeling really, really bad. Like month 2 is when it started to really be, okay, this isn't feeling very good. And me personally, I was feeling really, really shitty around month 2. And so a mentor of mine suggested that I try to learn one thing a day, and that would possibly make me feel better over a period of time. If you're doing what we're here to do and learn one thing, we can learn things. That's what sets us apart from a lot of different types of things. We learn things. That's what we do. At least in my opinion. And so I wanted to do this and try to practice it because I never consciously tried to learn something a day, wake up and learn. And because of that, it started to feel better. I started to get into different niches of what I loved, and it started to be more specific about how I could love something in a new way and be more find my way to the next plateau is what it's called. And so I think that is what I want to do every damn day, is learn something new. It helps a lot with mental health. It helps a lot with the people around you. Because I can go into a Group 2 rehearsal and be like, why don't we try something this way? I heard it this way. Or I read this and this seemed to make sense to me. If it doesn't work, throw it out the window, but we try it, or something like that. And I find that is immeasurably helpful for my mental health and my well-being as a human being, is to learn something every damn day. It doesn't matter what it is, just learn something.
See, and there's a nugget in every one of your answers there. So whether you're a musician or not, this is all good advice for everybody. As we talked about, if you watch the show, we daisy chain the shows together. So yesterday I had a gentleman. We're starting a project where we're trying to get people who can't afford a computer, and our big obstacle is probably going to be internet access. But his question that he wanted me to pass to Group 2 was, when you got started playing music, what were the obstacles that were in your way? If you're a drummer, it's your mom saying, shut up, get out in the garage or something, I'm sure of it. Or, what were some of the obstacles you all had?
I think I tried to answer this with a story like we were talking about earlier. So I think this ties, one of the obstacles is being understood, I think, and we've talked a little bit about that with this instrumental music, but also kind of a time crunch thing. We were talking about this as well. We had a gig a couple months back before COVID, and it was in the press box of the the football stadium at MSU, and that's Huntington Club. They have these nice galas and everything. And I was approached by someone from the business college, asked, "Hey, could we need a jazz quartet or something to do a benefit? Can you provide music?" And I said, sure. And the pay wasn't great, but they said they would feed us and everything. So it was great. And they said there'd be, probably some high up professors that would be walking in there. So I'm like, okay, we can throw a tip jar out. We might come out of this a little bit in the black. Turns out that, we get there and it's not a gala for professors. It's like a gala for some business sorority fraternity, business fraternity sorority, like a gala. So it's like, okay, so these people I know they're not going to tip, but they're also, I know this is really not their style. And, if I knew this age group was coming in, I would have programmed some pop arrangements and everything. But I was sitting here, we were playing like ragtime, honky tonk jazz. So I think that's one of the obstacles that highlights. And also they kind of ate all the food and we didn't get to eat afterwards. So it wasn't a great gig, but that highlights.
See, that's what I'm saying. They always screw the artists.
They always screw the artists. No, I got paid by Venmo. I don't think I've ever been paid by Venmo before for a gig. But I think that highlights two of the things. It's one of them is okay. Well, I remember we were playing some classical quartet, and this couple, this college couple, walks by and goes, yeah, where they have some very light dinner music. So I think that highlights one thing, right? Being taken seriously and being understood. And we kind of did it to ourselves there because we didn't program, but we didn't know. So that's one obstacle, and the other obstacle is, of course, that kind of highlights the whole gig economy that we live in as musicians. And the way to learn from these things is to have these stories and you take them and you laugh at them a couple months later after you're pissed off walking to the car. We've all had Group 2 has had a couple other gigs like that. But now we know, okay, we shouldn't take these gigs. We should be a little bit more confident. Okay, no, we need to ask for more money. No, we have to do these things. And these are the things that they don't teach you in music school that you have to figure out kind of on your own. So that's a long answer to a short question, but hopefully it was
and if I could add something to that, the ambiguity of a music career is very challenging. Like what you were talking about, the gig economy, like, it's very difficult to become a doctor, right? You have to apply to medical school. You need to be on top of your game for your grades. Like you got to be, there's so many of these qualities. However, the one thing that is there for being a doctor, it's like, the path, like you can walk this path and it's very clear when you can see what the end of the road is and you can go towards that. But I feel like as a musician, the big challenge, and this is alluding to what that story is talking about, it's like you're sort of like in a shroud of mist and you're like, all right, let's just try walking in this direction. And somehow you find a couple of other guys to go wandering with you. But then, at the end of the day, you're all still lost. But you're hoping you'll make it to the promised land. And, that's part of the excitement, but it's also part of the challenge, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, what do people play now? Among Us. It's like playing that game where you could only see like right in front of you.
Yeah, you can only see the circle of little black in front of you,
It's, you reminded me that, so inside the East Side here, we have a lot of people who live under the poverty line, and we have a bunch of like post-grads and doctoral students probably living underneath the poverty line as well. But we have a lot of competency here, and a lot of scientists and engineers are on the East Side over here. And there's a guy across the street from Columbia, and he told me that his parents were so disappointed when he said he was going to get into science, because in Columbia, it's not really clear what the path is for making money in science, because it's more pure there than, we're going to get this grant and it's going to give you $6 million and you're going to study the effect of, some drug that Monsanto is going to put out or something. So it's, and I thought, well, that's really how we treat our artists, is it's not clear. But I think that's a great point. It's very unpredictable where your future is going to be. But if you're going to be a doctor, it's sort of predictable. You just got to work hard and do it, right? Man, you guys are full of spectacular stories and anecdotes here. So tomorrow on the show, I've got someone I really don't know them well. Like, I don't know you guys that well. And I do now, though. We've got a question. His name is Troy. His company's called Same Day Renovations. And you guys have a question for him. What question would you like me to pass on to Troy?
I think Eric nailed it. You're up, Doyle.
I would love to know, or I guess, we would love to know what's been the coolest, maybe most invigorating project that he's worked on.
And I think that's going to be a great question for him, and I think he's going to do some cool stuff or say some cool stuff. And I want to flip that on you, but I'm going to change the way I was going to flip it from when we talked a little earlier. What I'd really like to know, I think, is what's like the most non-saxophone thing you've ever played on your saxophones? Like, are you? And I don't even know if that's a real thing, but I imagine yeah.
Maybe your arrangement, Evan, of the I Need Your Love, something like that.
I Need Your Love. Maybe the K-pop.
Your
K-pop was that was a good one.
We did. I dragged these guys into basically playing an arrangement of a K-pop tune.
We went willingly. He didn't drag us.
It rocks pretty hard.
And for those who are unfamiliar with the K-pop movement, it's sort of this like, it's like the tune we did is from a girl band, basically. It's kind of like, it's sort of sweeping the globe right now as a cultural phenomenon. And it's this interesting cross of like pop, but and then they do all this crazy dancing and like I don't know, it's just really crazy. But I ended up making an arrangement for that, and we played it for this other gig.
It was a solid arrangement.
It's very good. The baritone part was way too hard.
It was. I gave him a pretty hard time with that one.
Yeah. What's the name of that girl band? I know that I know who it is, but I can't think of it.
It's called Twice.
Twice.
They're called Twice. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the name of the tune that he did was Likey.
Likey?
Yeah.
Likey.
Like. So it's the word like, and then you just put a Y at the end of it. Likey.
Evan couldn't figure out why it was called Likey for the longest time. He was like, Likey? Are you sure it's Likey? I remember talking to him.
Yeah.
He was like, is it something else? Like Likey? Likey what? Likey what? But it was me Likey. It's like, I like it. It's very good. I like that song. How many times have we listened to it driving to rehearsal?
It's a bop.
It is.
People, they would say.
It'll get your foot tapping there, Jerry.
Well, I gotta find. Did you record it? And is it on your?
You have a recording of it.
Yeah, we totally do.
So if we go to your website, we can find a lot of this. You've got a YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we've got some recordings on our website. And if you you go to click any of the videos on your website, if it takes you to the YouTube, then you can look at our YouTube channel, and we've got a lot of cool stuff. And our website, for those listening, is www.group2quartet.com. So the number 2, group2quartet.com. And you can find everything there that we do.
I'm going to type that out real quick. You guys can double check it. So I just subscribed to your YouTube channel, and that's out there, and I'll put that in the comments in the description and all of that. And, I don't know you guys well. I didn't know what to expect. This has been a lot of fun to me. You guys are making me laugh. And I think just great nuggets of advice as to whether you're a musician or any type of entrepreneur. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between even the tech guys and the musicians. And I think it's lovely what you guys have said and the lessons that can be learned here. So on that note, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. But is there anything you guys want to take us out with? Any more advice? Any I don't know. You want to sing or something?
Well, thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
I loved your questions, and we've had a really good time on here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been great.
So, all right. With that said, there's group 2. Thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of Every Damn Day. And I will see you all tomorrow. So, see you later. I'm